everybody, welcome to Crafty Anew. Today I'm bringing you 3 farmhouse DIYs that's gonna look just marvelous in your homes. And I don't know why, I just said it this way, that way. So anyways, we're gonna get right into it. So for our first project, I am making a windmill vane. Now if you remember, my video that I made before the last video, which I'll link it up in the card above, I made an actual like half a windmill. Well, today I want a vane to go with that on my other wall. So that's what we're making today. So let's go over what you're going to need. First, you're going to need 4 of these glass gems. You've seen me use these before. You can use whatever you have available. This is just what I have, and I found that looks nice after you paint them. And then you're also going to need 3 of the giant bamboo skewers, or any kind of skewer that you can get, you know, that's round, or even a square dowel rod from Walmart will work. This is what I had on hand, so this is what I'm using. And then I'm just using a piece of scrap wood for a brace on the back. So you could use craft sticks or whatever you have. And then you're going to need a piece of foam core board, which I got right here. Y'all know what foam core board looks like. So you're going to need a piece of that. And then I already have a template cut out, so I'm going to go over with you on the measurements so that you guys can cut your own template out. And then of course you'll need your necessities like your paint brushes. And then I'm using Waverly chalk ink. And then I'm using apple barrel and white. Apple barrel and elephant gray. And we're going to use the same galvanizing technique that I've used in other videos, which again, I'll have that in the link in a card above so that you guys can see more in depth. So let's get started. So first what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get out your big piece of foam core board. And then like I said, I've got my template right here, so this is what this is what's going to look like. And what I did is I measured it from the very edge, and then I went at an angle. So you can see that my angle from the very edge of the foam core board measures 11 inches. So you're going to go from the very edge at an angle 11 inches. And then you're going to draw a line. Just like that. 11 inches. Then, once we have that cut, I am going to go at an angle from that 11-inch mark, and we are going to go 21 inches down. So you're going to have a 21, this side here is 21 inches. Okay. And draw a 21-inch line. And then we're just going to cut that out, and then we're going to mirror the image on the opposite side of the foam core board. So when you cut them out, you should have 2 pieces that look just like this. They should be the same size and the same width. Now what we're going to do is you want them opposite of each other, just like that. And you can see where I have my measurements down there, but I had to make them a little bit longer, so my measurements were off there, but ignore that. That was before you guys. Okay. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take one of my skewers and I'm going to place it right in the center. I don't want it going all the way up. I want it to go about 3 inches right there. That's where the top of my skewer is going to be. Then I want to cut off 3 inches from the bottom here. So I'm going to make a mark. Actually, I want 5 inches. We'll make a mark at the 5-inch mark. Okay. 8 inches of the skewer from the pointed side. So at the 8-inch mark, we're going to cut it off. I hope this is making any sense. Oh my God. Okay. So on the skewers, you're going to cut 8 inches off the bottom where the pointed side is. So you're just going to measure 8 inches from the bottom. And we're going to cut that much of it off. Of the giant bamboo skewers. Then once you just make a little slit, these will break. Okay. So you should be left with something like that, and it is, let's measure it real quick. They'll tell you how long you'll need. So then you should be left with a skewer 23.5 inches long, or if you're not using a skewer, then you want to cut whatever you have 23.5 inches long. Or the measurements are actually going to be different depending on the size you want. So again, this is just something that you're just going to have to mess around with till you get the length and size of the weather vane that you want, okay? I'm just giving you my measurements. So once I have that all measured out, I'm going to glue that in there in the middle there. Once I have that skewer cut, I'm going to go down to that little 3-inch line from the top that I made on my weather vane, right there. And that's where I'm going to put the top of the skewer. And we're going to just glue. So that way I know where to start the glue at now. So we're going to start 3-inch mark, and I'm using a high temp glue, which I know a lot of people claim it's a no-no on foam board, but I've never had any issues with it. And I'm just going to go all the way down the side of the foam board. And I'm just going to glue that on there. Just like that. And then we're just going to glue this other side to that same piece of skewer. So again, measuring 3 inches down so I know where to start my glue. So you should have something that looks like that right now. So you're going to take another one of the giant bamboo skewers and you're going to cut it to 14 inches long. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take another piece of bamboo skewer and we're going to cut it to 2 inches long. Okay. Which, again, you can just break these. These are so easy to break. So now we have 14-inch long and a 2-inch long piece. So what I'm wanting to do is I'm going to connect all of this together at the very end, just like that. So we're going to glue this down here. I'm going to put a little bead of hot glue on the end. And I'm going to glue that right there. We're going to hold it until it dries. And then I'm going to have about 1 inch overlapping here, because, you know, if you've ever seen a weather vane, so we want 1 inch overlapping. So about right there is where I'm going to glue it. And now we're doing all this at an angle. I hope you guys can see a good picture of this. I'll show you once everything dries here. You should have something that's going to look like that. Then we're going to finish gluing this down. I'm going to put a point right here. And we are working with the front. This is going to be the front. So everything on this is the front side. This is what the back side will look like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm taking a scrap piece of foam core board and I'm going to make like little hinges. So that again is just something to your preference, how big you want them. I think I'm gonna make each hinge about 3 inches long. So I'm gonna measure 3 inches, and I think I'm gonna make them about a half an inch wide. Okay, so there's my 3 inch mark. And then I'm gonna make them a half an inch wide. And then I'm just gonna cut that out. And I'm just gonna square that off there. So you should have that, and you want to make 2 of these. So you should have 2 of these, and we're going to make them look like little hinges. I'm going to glue a hinge over this so that it can kind of hold it down and protect it, just like that. And it's okay if it bends. That's what we want. So I'm just going to put a bead of hot glue on each end of this. And then right in the middle. And then I'm just going to hold that down there until it dries. And then we're just going to put another one up here at the top, right here at the end. So, right now, this is what you should have. Now we're just going to turn it over, and we're just going to add our wood piece that's going to just make it a little sturdier, okay? And we're just going to hot glue that down. This is just going to help hold it all together, give it a little more strength. Now we're just going to paint it. That's all we got left to do. Let's go ahead and actually add our gems. I want to add those right here. So what we're going to start out with is we're going to paint the entire thing gray, okay? So we're going to start out with our elephant gray paint, and we're painting everything gray. Okay, so now that we have that all painted gray, it's still a little wet. We're going to go over it with the black, and we're going to start galvanizing it. So I'm going to use my Waverly chalk and ink, and then I'm using a stencil brush. I'm just going to dip it in there, get a little bit off onto the plate. And then I'm just going to start dabbing it. All over. Then, while the black is still wet, we're going to go over it with the white. Now, if you feel like you went in with too much white, like I did in some places, you can go back in with the black or the gray and just kind of tap it out of there. There's what we should have. You can do as little or as much of this as you want. We are just going to use stickers. And I want to put welcome to our farmhouse. But I don't have enough of each sticker, so we're going to have to improvise and paint some. So we'll see how this turns out. So I'm going to start down here because this is still wet from my mess up. Yeah, I had to, anyway. So I'm going to use my black letters, and I'm going to spell out welcome. Oh, down here I'm going to spell out, so I'm going to use my letters and spell out to our farmhouse. So I'm going to put farmhouse on first because that's going to be my longest word, and then it'll help me determine where I want to put 2 hour. So here's where I'm going to have to kind of improvise. So I'm going to paint these letters black. Okay, so there's what we have once we have all the letters on, and then we're going to go over it with some white paint because I don't want those letters to be as dark and shiny. And we're going to kind of galvanize the letters a little, not too much, just a little. I'm going to go over that with some white, just like that. Just going to dry brush those, trying to catch the edges. Then I'm going to go over it with a little bit of Mod Podge just to seal that down. Okay, for this next video I'm making some Highland cattle signs. I love the Highland cattle. I just think they're so pretty and cute. So I've got the male and the female here, and I'm just going to put them on these stovetop burners. So you're going to need 2 of these, which I'll put the link to the printout in the description box below. And then you need 2 stovetop covers, and I'm using the bigger ones. Some jute twine, and of course your necessities like your scissors, your glue gun, Mod Podge, and I'm using Folk Art and Adirondack White. Waverly chalk paint and ink, and then just your Mod Podge. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these white, and it's going to take quite a bit of paint to cover this up. Okay, so once we have those all dried, now we're going to cut our pictures out and we're going to Mod Podge those on there. You can see how I already cut this one out. This is the shape I want both of them to be. I'm going to leave the link in the description box below on where I got these printables. They're free printables. I just typed in Highland Cattle, but I'll leave the link for you. So here's what they should both look like once you have them cut out. And now you're just going to Mod Podge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to center it right on the plate or the stove cover. And then whatever excess we have, we'll cut it off. We'll cover the back side of the paper with my Mod Podge. I'm going to be sure to get all the edges. Then you want to make sure you smooth out all the wrinkles. This is what they should look like after you've applied the Mod Podge and put the pictures on. Then once that's dry, you're just going to go over the top with a little bit of Mod Podge so that we can just seal it and it'll give it some protection. Okay, so once that Mod Podge is dry, we're going to cut off all the excess paper. Drop most of the extra paper. Take some sandpaper paper you can't cut off with your scissors will come right off. What we're going to do is we're going to take some Waverly chalk paint and ink, and I'm just going to enamel these to cover up some of the white. So I'm just going to kind of go over the edges lightly with the black, just like that, over even the picture. There's what it should look like when you're done. I'm going to do the same thing to this one. I'm going to take just a little bit of the black paint and we're going to just kind of go around the edges. Here's what you should have once you're done. Okay, so for our last project, I'm using Waverly chalk paint and ink. Folk art paint and Adirondack. A bundle of flowers that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. I don't know what they're called, but they're cute. Just don't know what they're called. I thought it'd be cute to start incorporating fall. A salt shaker that comes in a 2-pack from the Dollar Tree. Any kind of 8x10 frame. I'm using a mirror frame because that was basically, believe it or not, all I could find. So I don't know what's going on with the picture frames at the Dollar Tree. Jute twine. Again, from the Dollar Tree. Automotive section. Some nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. A piece of galvanized looking scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby. 4 for $1. And then of course your necessities. You'll need a pair of scissors, paintbrush, sandpaper, glue gun. We're going to start out by I'm going to remove the mirror part of the frame. If you have just a normal picture frame, you just want to take out everything because we're going to paint it, but keep the backing because we're going to use the black backing. And be careful with the Dollar Tree frames because they're notoriously made very thin and cheap. And so are their mirrors. So again, I'm saving this part. And then I'm going to paint the frame white. And it doesn't have to be perfect because I want some of the black showing through the white. Then we're going to paint our salt shaker and we're going to paint it black. You're going to remove the lid. While all this is drying, we're going to go ahead and work the inside of the frame. So we're going to set that to the side. And I'm just going to trace this out, the shape of the frame. And I'm going to cut it just a little bit bigger because I want to glue it down in the back. We'll see in a minute. Can you guys hear Wally? She's saying hi to all my new subscribers. If you're new here, I have a parakeet. She's very temperamental. She doesn't like it if she can't see me. And I'm in the kitchen crafting. She's in the living room, so she's letting me know that she's still here and that she still is the boss of the house. And then if you hear her squawking, it's because she's telling me I'm talking too much. This is what I deal with on a daily basis. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap this up. I'm just going to fold it over and I'm just going to hot glue it. You can actually Mod Podge this if you want. It's just going to go in the frame. You're not going to see this part of it, so I'm just going to use some hot glue. This is a super simple, easy DIY. You should be left with something like that. You just pretty much just wrapped it. Okay, so once everything's dry, we're going to put our backing back into our frame. And there's what you should have so far. Then I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper and I'm just going to sand some of the sides down. You see, I just brought out some of those raised edges. Then we're going to do the same with our salt shaker. Just not as much. I want a little bit of that shine to come out. And now I'm going to take the jute twine, I'm going to wrap it around my salt shaker. Then I'm going to leave a big piece, probably about 6 inches long. I'm going to cut it right there. So I'm going to hot glue that down. Then I'm going to hot glue my salt shaker right down in the middle of that, of the picture frame. Just like that. And what this is going to do, why I did the rope up here, is it's going to give the illusion that it's hanging from the frame. And then I'm just going to hot glue this back here. I'm just going to put something over that to give it a little more, to make it a little more sturdy. I mean, we've got it hot glued and everything, but here's what we should have. I'm going to take my nautical rope and I'm just going to cut me off a little piece because I want it to hang. And I'm just going to put the nautical rope right there in both the corners. Then once I have it all put together, I'm going to take my flowers and I'm going to cut the big stem off. We don't need that. There's what we should have. Isn't that so pretty? So that's all I have for you today. Hope everybody enjoyed today's DIYs. Hope it gives you some inspiration. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash that notification bell so you'll be notified of all of my future uploads. And leave a comment down below and let me know what your favorite is. Thanks for all my new subscribers. You guys got me over 100. I appreciate that. If we can get to 300, that would be a giveaway. So make sure you share my video. Get me some more subscribers in here because I'd love to have you all as my forever friends. And I just want to say I hope you guys have a wonderful, lovely, fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!